You have to use every resource available to you in order to do that. Both known and unknown resources to get rid of. And in the long run, that provides a great deal of safety, not only for us, but for the rest of the world, because you're talking about people with very extreme ideas. And they are not happy at all to live and let live. Let you do what you want to do, I'll do it. They're not for that at all. If you don't agree with them, they want to kill you. And that's a dangerous situation. It means, though, that we need to understand that area of the world. It's very complex over there. A lot of times when you hear the pundits on television, and they're talking about, well, you know, there's Malikis, forces, the Shiites, and then there's the Sunnis, and, these are defined entities. They're not. They're multiple factions in each of them. Most of ISIS comes out of Sunnis, but it's the radical side of the Sunnis. And the radical side is the war on the moderate side of the Sunnis. And then the Shiites tried to drive a big wedge between the Sunnis and the Kurds. They've not been terribly effective in doing that. The Kurds have been very steadfast in their mission, and they're really probably our most reliable allies in that area. But we're not directly aiding them. We're still passing weapons through the Shiites in Baghdad, who are supposed to pass them on to the Kurds, but they don't. So nothing's happening. And we show these videos of us blowing up Jeeps and things on the road, and how wonderful our bombing episodes are, without even realizing that those are dummy cars. There's nothing in there. And we use a $150,000 bomb to blow up a piece of junk. And in the meantime, they're riding their bikes where they need to go and doing what they need to do. And part of the reason we don't know that is because we don't have the right kind of intelligence on the ground, because ideology has said we can't put boots on the ground. If you're going to fight a war, you need to fight the war and get it over with. I know a lot of top brass in the military, and I can tell you, these guys are smart, and they know how to do stuff. And if you don't micromanage them, but you set out the goal for them, that's why we have a commander-in-chief. Commander-in-chief helps to set the goals. Commander-in-chief does not micromanage the army. That's a problem. And those all things are affecting us, and they're affecting the entire world. Because as we withdraw, other people become more powerful, and they fill the vacuum. And if we lose our position as a pinnacle nation, it will be taken by someone else, and the likelihood of them being as benign as we are is extremely small. And the world goes back to the way it used to be, which was not a very pleasant place. And then compassion is the other missing part sometimes, or at least the right kind of compassion. We are a compassionate people. We're always the first ones in line when there's a disaster in the world. We've always taken care of our own. But, a few decades ago, we kind of got off track because we start seeing some of the downtrodden people in our society, and we felt that we had an obligation to take care of them. And we would say, there, you poor little thing. I'm going to give you food and housing and health care and whatever else you need. Well, that doesn't help anybody. That creates dependence. And that is actually the opposite of compassion. What we need to do is take a page out of the book of Muhammad Yunus, who won the Nobel Prize in 2006 for his micro-lending program. How you invest in your fellow citizens and give them the ability through their work to lift themselves out of poverty. Millions of people were lifted out of poverty in Bangladesh and that region of the world. We can do the same kinds of things, but we have to learn how to invest in our people and make opportunities available for them rather than just keeping them in a dependent situation. So, those are just a few of the many things that have been on my mind. And, I really had no intention of getting into the political arena, but, as a platform made itself available to me and I began to talk about these things, they resonate so strongly with millions of people across the country. And I hope that they will continue. I don't know what my role will be in the future, but I know that I will continue to fight extremely hard for these principles. Thank you. We have time for a few questions, yes.
Dr. Carson, excellent presentation. As a nation, if you look at the spending on the healthcare, and if it was a country, we would be the 5th largest country just in healthcare.
Right.
Yet when you look at the effectiveness of that healthcare, we don't even come in the middle 2/3, like we are the middle 1/3 of the spectrum of the healthcare delivery. How can we fix it? You being a doctor, can you educate us?
Yeah, well, first of all, you have to understand those charts that you see that show us, number 38 and, life expectancy and infant mortality rates, all this kind of stuff. See, we take all comers. Everybody, when we calculate those numbers. Most other countries don't. A baby, for instance, in Spain has to be like 13 inches long before they're counted in the mortality statistics. We have 100,000, a year that go into that who are much smaller than that. And that affects your longevity statistics too. So the fact of the matter is, in terms of quality of healthcare, nobody can touch us, believe me. And you can go to any country in the world. There are people who are rich, who get sick, guess where they come? They come here. We have excellent health. What we don't have is excellent access. And that's really what needs to be fixed. And that's why, I explained the health savings account system, because that takes care of the access problem. And we already have the quality problems. Also, we want physicians, other healthcare providers, to be enthusiastic about what they're doing again. Most doctors are not very happy anymore. And, when they went to medical school, they didn't sign up to work for the government. And, they wanted independence and they wanted, to be able to use their intellect to solve people's problems. That was one of the things that attracted them to it. So, again, as far as I'm concerned, these are non-political things. These are things that help make America great and that provide health care for every member of our society and doesn't have a two-tiered system. Thanks.
Well, a couple of points I'd like to make, because I think your speech is very partisan. I don't think it's nonpartisan. I disagree with almost everything you put out here. I mean, 17% of the American population voted in the last election. 17%, that means 83% stay home. So that 17% is the ones who are going to create the new Congress and House. Okay? The money that was spent on that election was absolutely obscene. It probably cost $1,000 a vote. On the medical problems, Obamacare. Okay, Obamacare was the first really big change in health care coverage, and there was plenty of opportunity for the opposition party to propose other add-ons, additions, changes. I happen to agree with you 100% on the HSA. I think it's a terrific idea. I used it when it was popular, and it's great. I don't know how you fund it for the masses. It funds very well for the well-off people, for the people who make a good living, but I don't know what funds for the masses.
Well, I can tell you that it does. We've already costed it out. And again,
the Heritage Foundation is not the most impartial group to cost it out.
They have very good economists.
I'm sure they do.
And they use very standard techniques. But the point is, if you put $2,000 into the health savings account a year, that rolls over. If you don't use it, it continues to roll over. even if you did that for all 315 million Americans, you're still only talking about $630 billion.
I love it. I wish we proposed at the time. It probably would have been.
But you don't have to do it for all Americans.
But